Hi, everyone. Welcome to Learn English Through Podcast. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jack. Today, we're going to talk about a topic that's really important for every English learner.
Yes, it's all about how to talk about yourself in English. Knowing how to describe yourself clearly and confidently can really help in conversations, interviews, or even meeting new people.
Absolutely. And don't worry if it feels tricky at first. By the end of this episode, you'll have simple phrases and examples that you can use right away.
So, let's start with the basics. First, when you want to talk about yourself, you usually start with your name. For example,
Hi, my name is Jack. I'm from Canada.
or, hello, I'm Emma. I live in London. Notice how simple that is? Just your name and where you're from is a great start.
Right. And after that, you can share a little about your job or studies. For example, you might say,
I work as a teacher, or I'm a student at the university.
you can also mention what you like about your work or studies. This makes your introduction more interesting. For instance, I'm a teacher and I love helping students learn English.
And for students, I'm studying computer science and I really enjoy learning about artificial intelligence.
Now, a very common question in English conversations is, what are your hobbies or interests?
Yes, this is where you can show a little personality. You might say, I enjoy reading books, especially novels about history. Or, I love playing football on weekends.
And it's okay if you have more than one hobby. For example, I like cooking and listening to music.
Exactly. And you can even explain why you enjoy it. It makes your answer more natural. Like, I enjoy painting because it helps me relax after a busy day.
Another tip is to talk about your family. Many English speakers like asking about family because it's a natural way to connect.
You could say, I have 2 brothers and 1 sister. Or, I'm very close to my parents and we often travel together.
Sharing a little about your family doesn't need to be long. Just a few sentences are enough.
Now, here's an important point. When you talk about yourself, it's good to use positive language.
Absolutely. Instead of saying, I'm okay at English, you can say, I'm improving my English every day.
Yes, small changes in words can make a big difference in how confident you sound.
And if you want to make your self-introduction even more interesting, you can include a fun fact or something unique about yourself.
For example, I've visited 10 countries so far, or I can play the guitar.
This makes people curious and opens the door for follow-up questions.
That's right. People love learning something new about you.
Okay, let's do a short example introduction. Emma, you go first.
Sure. Hi, I'm Emma. I live in London and work as a teacher. I enjoy reading historical novels and painting. I have a younger brother and we love traveling together. One fun fact about me is that I've learned 3 languages so far.
That's excellent. Very clear and interesting. Now I'll try. Hello, I'm Jack. I'm from Toronto and I study computer science at university. I like playing football and watching movies in my free time. My family is very supportive and we often spend weekends hiking. A fun fact about me is that I once camped for a week in the mountains alone.
See, that's how you can introduce yourself naturally and confidently.
Now, let's talk about a few common mistakes to avoid when talking about yourself. One common mistake is talking too fast. When people rush through their introduction, it can be hard to understand.
Yes, slowing down a little helps. Pausing between sentences makes your speech clearer and gives you time to think. For example, instead of saying, Hi, I'm Emma, I teach and I like reading, you can say, Hi, I'm Emma. I teach English. I enjoy reading books in my free time.
Another thing to avoid is giving too much information at once. People don't need your entire life story in the first few sentences.
Right, focus on the main points. Your name, where you're from, your work or studies, hobbies, and maybe one interesting fact. That's enough for a smooth conversation.
Also, be careful with negative expressions. Instead of saying, I'm not good at English, it's much better to say, I'm learning English and improving every day. Positive words make your introduction more confident.
Absolutely. And using simple, clear sentences is much better than trying to use complicated words that you're not sure about. People will understand you faster if your sentences are simple.
Another useful tip is to practice questions that others might ask you. For example, if someone asks, where do you work? You can answer, I work at a marketing company as a content writer.
And if someone asks about hobbies, you can respond naturally. I enjoy jogging in the park and listening to podcasts about science.
You can even add a little detail to make your answer more engaging. For instance, instead of just saying, I like cooking, you can say, I like cooking, especially trying recipes from different countries.
That's a great way to keep a conversation flowing. People are more likely to ask questions when you give extra information.
A really good trick is to use linking words when you talk about yourself. Words like also, and, but, or because make your sentences sound connected and natural.
For example, I'm a student and I also enjoy volunteering on weekends. Or, I love reading because it helps me relax.
Exactly. This makes your introduction sound like a story instead of a list of facts.
Another important point is body language and tone. Even though this is spoken English, when you speak in real life, your tone and gestures matter. Smile a little, keep your voice friendly, and show enthusiasm.
Yes, enthusiasm makes your words more convincing. If you sound interested in what you're saying, people will feel interested in you too.
Now, for people who want to introduce themselves in more professional situations like interviews or networking, you can focus on your skills and achievements.
For example, I'm Jack, a computer science student. I've completed projects in web development and data analysis, and I'm looking forward to contributing to new technology solutions.
Or, I'm Emma, an English teacher. I have experience teaching children and adults, and I enjoy creating interactive lessons that help students learn faster.
Notice how in professional introductions, it's still important to keep it short and clear. You don't need to give your entire resume.
And a final tip for today: practice makes perfect. The more you practice introducing yourself, the more confident you become.
You can practice in front of a mirror, record your voice, or even practice with a friend. Each time, try to add small improvements.
And remember, it's okay to make mistakes. Every mistake is an opportunity to improve. Confidence grows as you keep practicing.
So far, we've covered your name, where you're from, work or studies, hobbies, family, positive language, interesting facts, linking words, professional introductions, and practice tips.
That's already a lot of information, but we're not done yet. There are still some advanced tips to make your self-introduction even more natural and engaging. One advanced technique to make your self-introduction engaging is to share a short story about yourself. Stories are memorable and help people connect with you.
For example, instead of just saying, I like traveling, you could say, I love traveling. Last year, I visited Italy and explored small towns where I tried local food and learned about the culture. It was an unforgettable experience.
Stories don't have to be long. Even 1 or 2 sentences that highlight something unique about you can make a big difference.
Another way to improve your self-introduction is to mention your goals or dreams. People are often curious about what motivates you.
For instance, you might say, I'm studying marketing because I want to start my own business one day. Or, I'm learning English because I hope to work in international relations in the future.
Talking about goals shows ambition and gives others a topic to continue the conversation.
And don't forget about your personality traits. Sharing a little about how you are can help people understand you better.
Yes, you could say, I'm very curious and enjoy learning new things every day. Or, I'm friendly and love meeting new people.
Using positive adjectives like curious, creative, organized, or adventurous makes your introduction more vibrant.
Another important aspect is adapting your introduction to different situations. How you introduce yourself at a party is different from a job interview.
For casual conversations, you can focus on hobbies, fun facts, and interests. For professional settings, focus on your work, achievements, and skills.
For example, at a party, you could say, Hi, I'm Jack. I love hiking and trying new foods. Last weekend, I went to a small mountain village and tried local cheese. It was amazing.
But in a professional meeting, you could say, Hello, I'm Emma. I'm an English teacher with experience teaching online courses. I specialize in helping beginners improve their speaking skills quickly.
Adapting your introduction makes it more effective and shows you understand the context.
Another useful tip is to practice follow-up questions. After introducing yourself, people might ask for more details.
Right. If someone asks, what kind of books do you like? You can answer, I enjoy historical novels and biographies because they teach me about different times and people.
Or if someone asks, why do you like cooking? You could say, I love cooking because it allows me to be creative and share meals with my family and friends.
Practicing answers to common questions helps you feel more prepared and less nervous during real conversations.
Another technique is to use comparisons or examples to make your answers more vivid.
For example, instead of just saying, I like music, you could say, I like music, especially jazz, because it's relaxing and reminds me of calm evenings at home.
Or, I enjoy painting landscapes because it helps me see the beauty in everyday life.
Adding a little explanation makes your sentences more engaging.
And when talking about experiences, you can use expressions like I once, I have tried, or I really enjoy. These small phrases make your speech sound natural.
Exactly. For example, I once participated in a local theater play, and it was an amazing experience because I learned to express myself better.
And I really enjoy hiking because it gives me time to think and relax. Short sentences like these are easy for listeners to follow.
One more tip is to use humor carefully. A small joke or funny story can make your introduction memorable, but it should be light and positive.
For example, I love cooking, though sometimes my experiments look better on Instagram than in real life.
It's relatable and makes people smile.
So far, we've added stories, goals, personality traits, context adaptation, follow-up questions, comparisons, vivid examples, and light humor to your self-introduction.
That's right. With all these tips, you can create an introduction that is not only clear, but also engaging and memorable.
A practical way to improve your self-introduction is to practice mini dialogues. This helps you feel comfortable responding to real-life questions.
For example, imagine meeting someone at a coffee shop. They might ask, "Hi, what do you do?" You could answer, "I work as a graphics designer. I enjoy creating digital art and illustrations in my free time."
Then they might follow up with, "That sounds interesting. What kind of illustrations do you make?" You could respond, "Mostly portraits and landscapes. I love capturing details that people might miss in everyday life."
Practicing these back-and-forth conversations makes your speech more natural and less like a memorized script.
Another tip is to use expressions that show interest in the other person. This makes your introduction feel more like a conversation instead of a monologue.
For example, after introducing yourself, you can ask, "What about you?" Or, "Do you enjoy reading too?" These simple questions encourage the other person to share, making the conversation flow.
And when someone shares something about themselves, try responding with a comment or short question. For instance, if they say, "I like hiking," you could say, "That's great. Which places do you usually hike?"
Another effective technique is to practice introducing yourself in different tenses. This helps you describe past experiences, current activities, and future plans naturally.
For example, for the past, I visited Japan last year and explored the culture and food. For the present, I work as a teacher and enjoy helping students improve their English. For the future, I'm planning to learn French next year to travel in Europe.
Using past, present, and future sentences gives your self-introduction more depth and variety.
Pronunciation is also important. When you stress the right words in a sentence, it makes you easier to understand.
For example, instead of saying, "I work in marketing and I like reading books," you can emphasize the important words. I work in marketing and I like reading books. This helps your listener focus on key information.
Another tip is using pauses strategically. Pauses give your listener time to process what you're saying and give you a moment to breathe and think.
For example, I'm Jack, I work in software development, and in my free time, I enjoy hiking. Notice the pauses make the sentence sound natural.
Yes, and don't be afraid of short silences. They often make your introduction sound confident rather than rushed.
Now, let's talk about introductions in social media or online meetings, which are slightly different.
In an online meeting, you might say, "Hello everyone, I'm Emma. I work as an English teacher and I enjoy helping learners improve their speaking skills. I'm looking forward to learning from all of you."
You can also add a small personal touch to make it friendly. I also love reading novels in my free time, and I'm always excited to exchange book recommendations.
In social media introductions, short sentences and keywords work best. For example, Jack, computer science student, hiking and music lover, exploring new cultures.
These online introductions are quick, but still give people a sense of who you are.
Another helpful tip is recording yourself while practicing. Listening to your own voice helps you notice areas to improve, like pronunciation, speed, and clarity.
And after a few recordings, you'll see your confidence increase. You can even practice with a friend or tutor who can give feedback.
Another effective technique is using these techniques regularly will make introducing yourself in English feel natural and stress-free.
Next, we'll explore some real-life examples of casual and professional introductions so you can hear exactly how these tips work in practice.
Imagine you're at a networking event. A simple introduction could start with your name and profession.
For example, "Hi, I'm Jack. I'm a software developer specializing in mobile apps." Then you can add something interesting about your work. "Recently, I developed an app that helps people track their fitness goals."
That's perfect. Notice how adding a short detail makes your introduction more memorable and opens up further conversation.
And in casual situations, like meeting new friends, you can keep it lighter. For example, "I'm Emma. I love reading and going on weekend hikes. What about you?"
This invites the other person to share as well. You can also mix hobbies and experiences to create a richer introduction. For instance, "I enjoy painting and exploring new cafes around the city. I love discovering small local spots with unique vibes."
Another tip is to share recent experiences. This makes your introduction timely and more engaging.
For example, last weekend I attended a cooking workshop and I learned how to make traditional Italian pasta. It was so much fun.
Adding short anecdotes like that makes your speech sound natural and conversational.
Sometimes people feel nervous about self-introductions because they think they need to be perfect, but it's okay to pause, smile, and take your time.
Exactly. A pause can make your speech feel confident rather than awkward. For example, "Hi, I'm Jack. I'm passionate about photography, and I enjoy capturing landscapes."
And don't worry if you make small mistakes. Listeners are usually very understanding, especially when you're learning English.
Another strategy is to use descriptive language. Instead of saying, "I like music," you can say, "I enjoy jazz music because it has a calming rhythm and makes me feel relaxed."
Or instead of saying, "I like sports," you could say, "I love playing basketball because it keeps me active and helps me bond with friends." Adding details paints a clearer picture for your listener.
You can also highlight achievements subtly. For example, "I've organized a local charity event for children, which was a wonderful experience."
Or, "I completed a 10K marathon last year, which was challenging but very rewarding." These statements show your dedication without sounding boastful.
Using questions during your introduction can make conversations smoother. For example, after introducing yourself, you might ask, "Have you ever tried painting?" Or, "Do you enjoy hiking too?"
Yes, questions make the other person feel included and help the conversation flow naturally.
Another helpful idea is to connect your hobbies or experiences to your goals. For example, "I enjoy learning languages because I want to travel and communicate with people around the world."
Or, "I love writing short stories because it helps me improve my creativity and express my ideas clearly."
This way, your introduction isn't just about facts. It tells a small story about who you are.
And if you want to sound friendly and approachable, you can include phrases like, "I'm really happy to meet new people," or "I love exchanging ideas and learning from others."
These small expressions make your introduction more warm and personal.
For learners who are nervous about speaking, visualizing the conversation beforehand helps. Imagine meeting someone and practicing your sentences mentally.
That mental rehearsal reduces anxiety and makes your real conversation smoother.
You can even combine this with writing a short script, but remember to practice saying it out loud, not just reading it silently. For casual introductions, imagine meeting someone at a park. You could say, "Hi, I'm Emma. I enjoy running and spending time outdoors. Last weekend, I explored a new trail and it was amazing. How about you?"
That's perfect. Short, friendly, and it encourages the other person to share something. For professional settings, you can say, "I'm Jack, a software developer with experience in web applications. I recently completed a project that improved our team's workflow efficiency. I'm excited to collaborate and learn from others here."
For online settings like Zoom meetings, clarity is key. You might say, "Hello, I'm Emma. I work as an English teacher and I specialize in helping learners improve their speaking skills. I enjoy interactive lessons and connecting with students from around the world."
And in social media bios, concise phrases work best. Jack, computer science student, hiking enthusiast, exploring cultures. Short and clear, but still gives a sense of who you are.
A practical exercise is to write 3 different versions of your introduction, one for casual situations, one for professional scenarios, and one for online profiles. Then practice saying them aloud.
Another exercise is recording yourself. Listen to your tone, pace, and clarity. Notice where you can improve, maybe slowing down or adding a short pause.
You can also practice with a friend. Take turns introducing yourselves and asking follow-up questions. This makes your practice more interactive and realistic.
And remember to focus on key points: your name, background, work or studies, hobbies, experiences, and a fun fact or goal. Including all of these gives a complete picture without overwhelming the listener.
For online settings like Zoom meetings, clarity is key. You might say, "Hello, I'm Emma. I work as an English teacher and I specialize in helping learners improve their speaking skills. I enjoy interactive lessons and connecting with students from around the world."
And in social media bios, concise phrases work best. Jock, computer science student, hiking enthusiast, exploring cultures. Short and clear, but still gives a sense of who you are.
A practical exercise is to write 3 different versions of your introduction, one for casual situations, one for professional scenarios, and one for online profiles. Then practice saying them aloud.
Another exercise is recording yourself. Listen to your tone, pace, and clarity. Notice where you can improve, maybe slowing down or adding a short pause.
You can also practice with a friend. Take turns introducing yourselves and asking follow-up questions. This makes your practice more interactive and realistic.
And remember to focus on key points: your name, background, work or studies, hobbies, experiences, and a fun fact or goal. Including all of these gives a complete picture without overwhelming the listener.
Confidence grows with repetition. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to speak naturally. Even short, daily practices help a lot.
A tip for fluency is to combine sentences naturally. Instead of saying, "I like reading, I like cooking," you can say, "I like reading and cooking because both help me relax after a busy day."
Adding a reason behind your hobbies or interests makes your sentences more complete and interesting.
Another tip is to react to what the other person says. If they share something about themselves, respond naturally. "That's interesting. I've always wanted to try that."
This keeps the conversation dynamic and shows that you're listening.
When practicing, try to vary your sentences. Use different verbs and adjectives to describe yourself, such as creative, adventurous, motivated, or curious.
You can also include a small challenge or achievement. I recently completed a 5K run, and it was my first time running that distance.
By sharing achievements, you add depth to your introduction and give others something to ask about.
And finally, remember to smile and maintain a friendly tone. Your attitude makes a big difference in how people perceive you.
So to summarize, start with your name, share a bit about your background, talk about work or studies, hobbies, family, interests, and maybe a fun fact or goal. Adapt your introduction to the situation: casual, professional, or online. Practice regularly, use positive language, include short stories or examples, and engage the listener with questions.
With consistent practice, you'll be able to introduce yourself confidently and naturally in any situation.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope these tips help you speak about yourself in English with confidence and ease.
Keep practicing, keep learning, and soon, talking about yourself will feel completely natural.
That's it for today's episode. We'll see you next time with more practical English tips.
Goodbye, everyone, and keep improving your English.